right, welcome here to Granbury TV. I'm Kevin Myers here with Granbury TV. I'm here for the regular Darrell Cockerham Judge's Report for Hood County Judge. And Judge, you know, it's been a few weeks since we had an interview, and the honest answer is you've been occupied.
That's true.
You know, certainly if you're watching this, you know very well that we've had a disaster here in Hood County on May the 15th. The tornado that ended up killing 6 people. I don't know that number has changed at all from the 6 people, and did tremendous damage here in Hood County. And Judge, from the word go, and tornadoes happened right around 8 o'clock because I was picking my daughter up at church on Wednesday night, and you know, I could see that we had storms and those kind of things, so I was headed back to the hospital. And you know, I could hear sirens going off, I could hear everything that was going on. Just, I mean, right out of the gate, everybody responded and began to do what it is we do. And what I want you to talk about is, you know, I never got a sense of we don't know what to do, because, you know, these are the things that we practice for.
That's very true. One of the things that what we did is, first of all, I got a call from Ray Wilson, who is our emergency management coordinator, and he said, we're sounding the sirens. And I said, great, okay. And then the next thing, he said, you know, tornadoes hit Rancho Brazos, and we need to sign a disaster declaration. So I immediately went down to the EOC, which is the Emergency Operations Center, signed that. We brought up the EOC for full operation, had people coming in and so forth. Of course, the people were working it out there, but what we did is, you're right about the planning and training, because we have to have FEMA graded exercises, and so everybody knew their job, knew where they needed to be, and we got on it. One of the things that what I tried to do was to kind of stay a step ahead of the process. In other words, you know, while people are handling the details on the search and rescue, well, then what we need to do is we need to start planning on the search and recovery. And then once that's over with, I started to going into the next phase, which is cleanup, and let's start handling that. And then the next phase is, let's start even before we finished the cleanup, way before we finished. Of course, the cleanup's not completely done, but let's start getting some things lined up for these people to be, you know, have some long-term places for them to stay, long-term care for these folks. So
I know everybody that has been around and seen, you know, just the tremendous coverage. That was first and foremost one of the different things that we, you know, my wife called me from Starbucks and says, you know, it's kind of odd sitting here drinking my coffee in Starbucks and see somebody from national NBC News sitting right there beside me. But Judge, you know, we know about the disaster, we know about what happened, we know all those details, but that's kind of been put aside, and now we've gone over into chapter 2 or the next phase of that, which is, all right, how do you recover from this from a long-term perspective? And I know your office is continuing to work on a lot of different things, and that's really the information that you want to get out today.
That's true.
Is here are the long-term things. First, we'll start with the gentleman that was just on with us, Kevin Wynn from the SBA, and the work that the SBA is doing. You guys have provided space for them in the courthouse for them to do their thing.
Right, and they, like you said, they're in operation from I think 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. They'll be closing down next Thursday, so they will no longer be there. But what happened is on May the 20th, Governor Rick Perry files a disaster declaration for 4 counties in North Texas, and we were part of that, of course. And what that did is that it freed up some money for local help. One of the things was homeowner rehabilitation assistance, and it provides up to $85,000 per household for the rehabilitation or reconstruction assistance for owner-occupied housing units. So those people who were underinsured and non-insured, they can come and apply for these grants. These are grants. And then the home buyers assistance, up to $20,000 per household for a down payment. So their house is completely gone, or maybe they were living in there in a rental property and they want to buy, then they could apply for this grant of $20,000 so they could go in and pay closing costs, and they could pay for the down payment. And then the tenant-based provides, if you were a renter, there's assistance that you could pays up to 24 months. So if you were a renter in there, you could go and apply for this grant, and it'll pay for some place for you to live in an apartment house or wherever for up to 24 months. And then the demolition, there's grants and stuff to be, if your house was unsafe to go back in, then you can apply for a grant for the rehabilitation.
Judge, I know we had tremendous damage at the Rancho Brazos area, but from a county-wide perspective, what other areas were hit with some significance as well?
Well, Indian Harbor had a lot of tree damage and stuff like that, and there was some out at Pecan, roof damage and other damage like that. I think some limbs and stuff were down out there too. Grand Harbor, which is just across the street, was damaged. So there, but of course the big thing was Rancho Brazos, but those other areas were affected too.
Okay. Judge, I guess one of my questions as well is are we, and today is June the 6th. Today is June the 6th, and we're actually taping this interview.
It's
D-Day.
D-Day.
D-Day, yes. Today is D-Day. So, I guess, would you call the cleanup effort 20%, 50%, 70% complete? Where would you say we are in the process?
I'd say probably 60% done. What we've done is we rented a big grinder, chipper, whatever you want to call it, and it will take logs, this big around, and quite expensive, $40,000 a month to rent that thing. But I'm telling you, it makes quick work of a big pile of tree limbs. So, that was one of the big things. We're probably going to spend $100,000 just hauling off the debris. The wood, they won't let us grind up the wood because it's not clean. Clean wood is a tree limb.
Okay.
A 2x4 without any nails or anything in it is not clean. Now, I don't know the difference.
But that's
TCEQ says there's a difference. But so we have to haul those to a landfill, and like I said, we're probably going to cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 just to haul off the stuff.
And one of the things that I know a lot of people don't know, and we're going to do a future segment on this, is that we don't have a landfill per se in Hood County.
That's right, we don't. We have to haul it. I think they're taking it up in maybe either Parker or Wise County or somewhere, but the local, the
transfer station.
Are hauling it up there. So now, one of the things too is that we opened up the recycling so that you can bring metal, twisted metal, and haul it out there. And also, people are actually paying for the scrap metal that was coming out of there. So,
really?
We could probably erase a little bit of that $100,000 based on the scrap. But we have 154 people, or different families and stuff like that we're trying to help out there. That we have opened up that many accounts, and we have all of their names and addresses, where they are, and what they're doing, and what we're doing to help them. Mission Granbury's been great. They stepped in. A lot of people, donated money, and Mission Granbury has gotten some, donations for that, and they're stepping in and helping those people out. So what I didn't want to do is anything like that, what happened at Katrina, after Katrina. Yeah. People come back saying, nobody helped me. Where was the government? And I've had a lot of questions about where was FEMA in that list. How come? Well, we didn't meet the criteria. I think it's $33 or $34 million worth of damage in non-residential. So we didn't have a lot of non-residential damage. So we didn't meet the FEMA criteria. Up in Moore, Oklahoma, people said, well, they were in there immediately. Well, yeah, because it destroyed schools and businesses and everything. And it just didn't get that many businesses here. Now, a rental house is a business, so it qualifies, but there just wasn't that much, not $34 million.
And as with everything, there's always got to be a defining point there, and I'll say just my own personal experiences from everything that happened that night and it has happened since. Nobody, if you need help, or if you needed help, or that was there for you.
That's right.
There was a tremendous outpouring from this community and from the broader Texas and national perspective that just have done everything they can to make this not a big disaster or lessen the impact here in Hood County.
Well, Samaritan's Purse came in. They had a number of workers. The Baptist men and Baptist folks came in, not only men but women also, and they were out there during the cleanup and helped organize things. It was just really good. One of the things that we're going to do on next Tuesday night in our meeting is to consider a resolution to reevaluate all of those houses up there. Now, this is not something that we have to do. This is something I believe is the right thing to do, because if that house was damaged or destroyed, there's no, we're going to adjust that to make it easier on those homeowners, to make it easier on those people that live out there.
But just come back in now that we've had basically a month, almost a month now from the disaster, to say, okay, let's look at this again with fresh eyes. And I know, and happened last night with the first responders, that the emergency response community, of which the hospital is a part, have been reevaluating and looking at all the different things that happened, everything that happened during that period of time, and said, what could we have done better? Even though I feel like everybody did a tremendous job, you can always learn lessons from every event like this.
That's true.
And Judge, what are some of those things that you guys already know that you're going to want to try to deal with over the next 6 months to a year, now that it's coming close to budget time?
One of the things is that we want to have better communication between that Emergency Operations Center, which I talked about, and the Incident Commander, which is out in the field. And, just maybe have radios, because there were a lot of times that I tried to call people that were on the scene. We've got this situation coming up. What do and I couldn't get anybody on the phone because they were too busy, handling that. And really what that's one of the things that I want to improve is the communication between the incident and the command center. Because, we're marshaling resources to help that guy. But he's so busy, doing that he probably needed somebody out there to help handle that situation, help the communication. We had a team come out of Dallas. They were primarily search and rescue. They had dogs, that would go in and, sniff out and see if there's anybody buried under the rubble and things like that. Well, they were already here and working before the incident commander ever knew it. And if we could have had better communications, then he would have known. He could have said, well, you guys need to start here and do this and, go over here. So that's one of the things that I'd really like to improve on.
You talk about the Emergency Operations Center. I know even before the incident that one of the things that you guys were working on was rebuilding or redoing. That was already on your budget to do this year, was to redo the Emergency Operations Center at a different location than it is right now.
It'll be across the street still on Deputy Larry Miller Drive, but it'll be right across the street. And we want to expand it and make it bigger, because right now, the way Hood County has grown, and when we bring in the Texas Department of Public Safety, when we bring in the schools like Granbury, Toller, Lipan schools, if we had a disaster out at the plant, we have to bring in everyone, because what do we do about evacuating schools? What do we do about evacuating the extended care facilities for people around the county? What do we do about all of these situations? We have a group over here called RACES, which is the radio, amateur radio. If we had some kind of a disaster that wiped out communications within the county, then we have to have shortwave radio that we communicate with people. Well, we got all of those people, 20 or 30 people in this little bitty room right now. And they're all kind of sitting on top of each other. And then when the radio's operating over here, well, people are over here trying, maybe we're holding a briefing, and I mean, you can't hear because of the noise. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little room for them to be in so they can communicate and do their thing, and then spread out in a little bit. And but that is, we got a $700,000 grant from the federal government to do that. And we've got to February to finish that thing, so we got to hit the ground running and get that going. But it'll be built right out there on Larry Miller Drive, Deputy Larry Miller Drive.
Good deal, Judge. I noticed in the newspaper several times, and have heard. You know, we talk about the families that are involved in here, but in Hood County, we already had a problem with trying to deal with animal control and those kind of things. Were our facilities even more so inundated with the disaster, and talking about stray animals and those kind of things?
They really were. Well, I was out there that night, the night of about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning after that happened at 8 something, like you said. And there were still stray dogs running all over the place. Well, what we did is we picked up all of those. Animal control picked them up and housed those people till the owners could come and reclaim them. And at last time I heard it, there were like 2 that hadn't been reclaimed. Now, I don't know if that were people that were really badly injured or had been, casualties of it and didn't pick up their animals, but we were down to just 2. So, yeah, but we handled it. I mean, the animal control stepped up and did a really good job. And another thing, we've got in the plans to build a new animal control facility, because that one was never meant to be animal control. It's concrete floors, which holds diseases like parvo and things like that. If we get an animal in has parvo, well, it contaminates that area. So we've got a plan to redo that and build a new one somewhere in a different location than where it is right now.
Well, and another thing that I guess is I noticed today, I got the email from the Chamber of Commerce that in amongst all this, sort of we should have been breaking ground today on Loop 567 and that opening up, and that's kind of backed off a little bit, slowed down just a little bit. What is your new projected date for opening Loop 567?
Well, the ribbon cutting was not groundbreaking, but the ribbon cutting was put off, and I don't think we have another date on that, but I'm sure it'll be forthcoming shortly. They just weren't quite ready on the end that comes into down there by Irby's and Waterview and all of that. That's the last part that's to be done, and it's going to be great when it opens up. I mean, people can get to the reunion grounds really easy this way. But I don't think we have a really projected date. But it shouldn't be within, if the weather stays great, probably within the next several weeks that we'll see that, probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Well, good deal. Well, Judge, we every 2 weeks we talk about the things that are going on in Hood County. Let's hope that over the next couple months we can get back to sort of normal discussions about the business of the county.
Well, we have a groundbreaking for a new
a new 36,000 square foot expansion of the hospital, and we're tremendously happy about that. And it really it's the commitment to the community that our corporation has made. Continue to build, continue to do those things, and we will be expanding even more than we already are. Judge, last question. Although we did get a tremendous amount of rain, and we have gotten some rain over the last couple months, it really has not resolved the issue with the lake levels. And I know that is always at least somewhere on your desk, thinking about the lake levels and what can we do to improve the lake quality.
You know, that is very true, and it has been kind of off of the people in the county have not forgotten about it. And when I say people in the county, I'm talking about elected officials. We've still tried to keep, you know, our finger on the pulse of that situation. But right now, the lake is, you know, if we don't get some rain, I mean, big rains, and the evaporation continues through these hot summer months, then we're going to go back to a river. You know, seriously, it's getting that bad. You cross down on down where the new loop is coming through, and you can see that island out there, and that island is growing. So you know, we're down quite a bit, and on the, you know, it dropping about 4 inches, you know, a week or something like that, and so we need rain, and we need some relief. We need some help on that.
So, you know, that, I know you guys are going to have the opportunity to make that again front and center and begin to discuss those things, although, as you say, they never have gotten off the table. They
No,
just,
I'm worried about the economic impact on the county.
Yep.
That's my big thing. You know, I talked to a guy last night. I had another meeting. I couldn't go to the one that you mentioned a while ago. And he said, I said, you know, I don't see you very much. He said, yeah, the lake's dry. He said, I really live in urban. He said, I own a home over here, but I'm not coming over here. There's no lake. You know, and that was just, you know, and I've talked to several people like that. Our neighborhood probably has 10 or 20 houses that are people who, it's their second home. They live somewhere else. They just come to Granbury for the weekend. Well, they're going to stop coming. So what's that going to do? That's going to make sales tax drop. That's going to make a lot of things drop. It's going to be a big economic impact. And I don't think people realize that yet. It's going to really impact this county. Going to impact all the businesses. You know, people eating out. If they're not in town from out of the county, then, you know, they're not going to be eating out. So that's what I'm worried about.
well, as always, this is Granbury TV. I'm Kevin Myers here with Judge Daryl Cockerham for our,
thanks for
our
having
county, for county judges report, and we'll see you about 2 weeks from now. And thanks for Drew for filming for us, and we appreciate you here.